Hi guys, we're not doing an actual live stream with a Q&A this week because we just got back from the Prophecy Watchers conference. But I wanted to take a second to go over a couple things that might be connected with prophecy and this current war that the Israel is doing. And so I wanted to share a few things with you. Number one is that we have the word for violence can just mean violence. The word in Hebrew is Hamas. And sometimes when you're reading the prophecies, it just means some violent group or some violent person or whatever. Other times it seems to indicate a group of people with the name violence. And that's what I wanted to make sure to share with you today. So there's actually several scriptures that talk about that basically as far as Hamas, I think anyway. There's probably about 200 different scriptures that use it for just the term violence in general. But I want to show you just a couple of places in here. The first one is here, Amos chapter 6, verses 1 through 5. Now, before we actually read the text, I want to show you one thing in particular. There's bad guys that do stuff, and then it talks about they rejoice in it. But it says this one thing. It says they will sing praises to what they've done, be it good or bad, but bad stuff. But it says that they will chant the sound of the viol. And that's just the way the King James has it, the viol. It's just a stringed instrument. And we want to start there by looking at this because of one particular thing. The book of Nathan and one of the Dead Sea Scrolls talks about the fact that there is a special type of prophecy that is geared to the names of the Psalms. So when you have something that says this is a Psalm of David when he killed Goliath or whatever, and it says that it's to the tune of some song and it's to be played on a certain musical instrument. Well, when you look at that certain musical instrument, it's usually a stringed instrument. And what you want to do is count the number of strings on that instrument. Like we talk about a guitar being a six string. So I want to show you something here. This is, we'll come right back to this, but this is a Dead Sea Scroll 1Q or 4Q 177. It's called Katina A. It's just a bunch of prophecies put together. And in the middle of this, he talks about these evil people in their day, which is the time of the first coming. It says that as this is written about them in the book of Psalms, and then it quotes Psalm 12:1, which is a title and the first verse. It says, to the chief musician on the Sheminith. Now, Sheminith is an eight-stringed musical instrument. So remember that. It's a psalm of David where he cries, and then this is the title, help, Lord, for the ungodly man ceases, for the faithful fail from among the children of men. So the surrounding nations turn evil and try to attack Israel is what he's talking about in general. But the point that it's on the stringed instrument, the eighth stringed instrument or eighth. And so listen to what it says here as far as their explanation for this part. For the instruction to people without knowledge. You guys don't know prophecies. I don't know prophecies the way they did. So for those of us that don't understand everything, here's the answer. They are the eighth Ona. Something about compassion. There is no peace, for it is written in the book of the prophet Isaiah about them. And it goes on and talks about the actual prophecy. But what I want to show you here is that this is a prophecy about some evil group fighting against the Jews in the eighth Ona. Now, an Ona is a 500-year period. So what they're teaching, and it's very clearly taught in some fragments of Nathan that I don't really have available at the moment to show you, but the basic idea is because Psalm 12 is set toward a eight-stringed musical instrument, they're saying that the prophecies in Psalm 12 refer to things that happen in the eighth Ona. Okay, so that's significant to us. Right now, we're living in the 12th Ona. So if there is a 12-stringed musical instrument, and there's a kinnor, and I think there's a couple of others, but a kinnor is the normal one, is a 12-stringed musical instrument. So if this carries through any psalm that is entitled to the Kenor or any other musical instrument, if you know for sure it's 12, might have a prophecy in it. And if it does, it's referring to our time period. So, with that in mind, let's go back and look at these Hamas ones. So, this particular one, this is in Amos, though. So, it might not even carry through. But if it does, Amos chapter 6, if the same thing goes through for all of Scripture, not just the Psalms, if it's talking about the kenner, which is translated viol here, a certain kind of harp, then this would be in the 12th Ona. And Israel didn't come back in this Ona until 1948. So it's been about 75 years. So this prophecy would be sometime from 1948 to the second coming or rapture or something like that. So let's go back here and look at this then. It says, woe to them that are at ease in Zion and trust in the mountain of Samaria. So there's a group of people in Zion or in Israel that are at ease. They trust the mountain of Samaria. Now, Samaria sometimes is Zion. Currently, Samaria is the West Bank or the Palestinian groups, one Palestinian group. And then, of course, Zion is Jewish as far as the government structures, which are named chief of the nations to whom the house of Israel has come. So Israel didn't exist, now it exists again. Pass ye unto Calna and see. From there go to Hamath the great and see. Go down to Gath of the Philistines. So Calna, Hamath, and Gath are cities that are located in Syria, Lebanon, and the Gaza Strip. Gath is where Samson fought Goliath. Goliath was from Gath, so that's that area down there. It says, are these kingdoms better than yours? Do they have greater borders than yours? No, actually, well, Syria currently is bigger than Israel. Lebanon, not. Um, Gaza Strip is not. But anyway, are they better than yours, etc.? They have more forces, more power, not necessarily. Okay, and it says, ye that put evil far away, or put far away the evil day, rather. There's an evil day of attack. It says, and it caused the seat of violence to come near. Now we want to look at this particular phrase here. So when it says the seat of violence to come near means to, come in, make a pact, do an attack, do something. You come here to do it. When you talk about the seat of something, like the county seat is where the courthouse is for the county. So it's the center or the government structure. So we're talking about something about these. There's Kalna, Hamath, and Gath as a group of people, but we're specifically talking about Gath of the Philistines or the Gaza Strip. And if we plug in the fact that it's the 12th Una, it's the Gaza Strip from 1948 forward, sometime in this time period. And there is a seat or a government structure that has the name of violence, which in Hebrew, of course, again is Hamas. So there is a group called Hamas that is the government structure of a place called Gaza or Gath of the Philistines. So that's interesting in our time period. And it says they lie upon beds of ivory, stretch themselves upon the couches. They eat the lambs of the flock and the calves out of the midst of the stall. They chant with the sound of the 12-stringed instrument and invent to themselves instruments of music. So they're not singing praises to the true God, they're inventing their own thing. And it goes on and talks about they're going to be desolated because of the um, other things. One other thing I wanted to show you along this line, just a couple of them here. Here is Ezekiel 7. It says, the morning has come to you, you that dwell on the land. The time has come. The day of trouble is near. Day of trouble is usually the tribulation period, but notice it's not that the tribulation period is here right now, it's getting close. So, in other words, we're getting close to the end times when you see a terrorist government structure in Gaza or Gath of the Philistines by the name of violence or Hamas. then there is this day of trouble is near. So it might be 5 minutes, 5 years, 50 years, but either way, it's near compared to like a 500-year period. So this time of trouble is near, not the sounding of again on the mountains. Now I will shortly pour out my fury upon thee and accomplish mine anger upon thee. I will judge you according to your ways and recompense thee for all of your abominations. And your eyes will not spare, neither will I have pity. I will recompense thee according to the ways of these abominations in the midst of thee, and you will know that I am the Lord that smiteth, the I am, or the God of Jacob, not the God of Esau. Behold the day, behold, it has come. Not the tribulation, but before the tribulation, there's this incredible war. This day has come. In the morning it has gone forth, the rod has blossomed, the pride has budded. Hamas has risen up to a rod of wickedness. None of them shall remain, nor any of their multitude, nor any of theirs, and neither shall there be any wailing for them. And there's a lot of other scriptures like that. Like I say, there's a couple of hundred, but they just mean violence in general. And there's, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, I would say 6 or 7 passages that specifically talk about a group called violence doing something. We just wanted to share this with you real quick. Right now, we're having lots of things going on with the war if you're keeping in contact with it. But there are a handful of scriptures that talk about Hamas violence being the seat of the government and a rod of wickedness that has risen up against Israel from the area of Gath of the Philistines, Gaza Strip. And there's this war predicted, and there's several other things about the war that are talked about. This may not be it. Okay, 2 years ago, I did a video on the war in Syria, which looked like some of the prophecies were going to be fulfilled, and it wasn't. Come close, but not quite. So we will see what happens in the coming weeks. So we're going to stop here for today. This has just been a quick little um, explanation of a couple passages. So we'll keep watching. And in the coming weeks, what I want to do, kind of switch gears from where we were and start going over some of these passages. We've got things about the Iran war from Jeremiah 49 and from the book of Enoch. And you've got the Damascus the destruction from Isaiah 17. You've got the Psalm 83 war. You've got the Obadiah passage about what happens to Lebanon, which looks like is really beginning to happen now. So we'll probably talk about that next week. And there are several passages that connect these things together. And then the Gog Magog invasion of Ezekiel 38. But that brings us to passages like Gad and some of the other Dead Sea Scrolls that give us some interesting insights if we're putting them together properly. And that's all we're doing as sons of the prophets, just trying to pull these together and understand. So we'll go ahead and stop there for tonight. Keep watching, and we'll be back next Monday for a normal Q&A and everything. Thank you. God bless.